Are we live? Are we live? All right. Are we live? Yes, we are. Okay, cool. So, let me function F11. Are we live? Oh. I was still playing. So, I'm going to quickly shut the door. So, this is going to be the next Tuesday live stream of the FX and my watch list. So I will go over what I was looking at today and yesterday. I'll rebuild a watch list for tomorrow and the next few days and just go through how that process works. And I'll also go over anything else that pops up throughout the live stream. Hello, Eve Lily. Thank you for tuning in. So this one's going to be nice and short, sweet, to the point. We've got Wingstop on the way for dinner, so very, very exciting. And I suppose without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, so let's head over to the day trading watch list. I'm just getting myself all settled. So today on the primary watch was Kiwi Swiss, Kiwi Yen, Pound CAD. Those three were my primaries. And what that means, because they're red, is that they weren't actually ready today, but they might be ready. So they haven't yet broken down and they didn't get given the ready symbol or the ready status with the blue. They're at the red because they're in the area that I really like, and they're in the red zone that they're in the zone that I want to execute from, and they are looking really good. They just need a little bit more development. They haven't yet broken structure on the intradays, so we're waiting for that commitment before I then move them over into the ready list. So breaking down Kiwi Swiss real quick, it's really, really simple on this one. As I've said before, I don't get too caught up in the previous historics. I like to focus on the most recent price action at hand to give me the most up-to-date and accurate representation of what price is doing. So in the case of Kiwi Swiss, we have this big overextended run up into the highs at around 55,750. And it just looks like it's starting to stall. So Monday, we just had a little bit of a bearish candle come through, took out the highs, didn't take out any of the lows, but it was just hanging around and looking like it wants to start rolling over. It's stalling, it's deceleration, there's no rejections, there's no confirmation, nothing like that. It's just we're stalling at the top of an overextended run. So to me, that is enough for me to watch it and want to watch it quite closely over the next day, 2 days, etc. Now, 4 hour, we had a nice amount of room to that 4 hour 50, which I'm a huge fan of. That is the reason that I'm able to get the risk to reward that I strive for on my positions, because I'm looking for price that has deviated so far away from the 4 hour 50 if I'm looking for a 1 hour break and retest. And in this situation, unfortunately, we haven't had the commitment that I wanted to see. I was hoping that maybe we could just drop out, form a lower low, retest as a lower high, and then we can take that down to the 4 hour 50. But unfortunately, what's happened is price has just come down and then moved sideways for the last day or two. So at this point, I think it's quite unlikely that I will be looking to execute any setups on this one personally, just because of how messy it has become. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it on the watch because it still is overextended and it still has a nice amount of room on the 4 hour 50 to the 4 hour 50. And what we might see price do is come back up, revisit the highs, and then break out a little later on, or maybe form some kind of a reversal pattern. So I'm still hanging out for this daily overextended run to pull back down into 54,500 as a downside target. I do like that, but at the moment, just no intraday setup to confirm and validate and give me a reason to execute just yet. Excuse me. Now, Kiwi JPY, this was my favorite on watch for today, and upon inspection now, we'll have a look and see if we might be ready. So on the daily time frame, we have this nice wick high, which I'm a huge fan of taking from taking the rejections off of these extremes, as opposed to say halfway into the wick, as some of these other JPY positions are currently trading around that lower higher region within the range. I'm not a huge fan of it, whereas this has hit that overextended run right at the top of that daily wick extreme here. So that was a really nice indicator for me that I want to start looking for shorts back down into these regions here. So we had the first day on Friday, spike up into it. Monday was a doji, and now Tuesday today we spiked up into the highs and we're trading back below that region. So shorts are not yet activated, but all eyes are on watch on Kiwi JPY for a little bit more of a longer term hold down into these daily 50 EMA and the daily support levels. 4 hour, there's a hell of a lot, not a hell of a lot, but there's a decent amount of room to that 4 hour 50 to justify the position. So that's very cool. Now, the 1 hour is looking pretty good. So from one end of the spectrum, we are technically broken down. We're below this region. We can look to come up and retest it, and then take that down to the 4 hour 50, and then also a little lower. The only thing that I'm hesitant about, however, is that we've not yet had a very nice break and retest of these regions, and we've also not filled this wick yet. So in terms of a trend change, it's technically there, but it's also technically not. It's kind of a read between the lines approach. It is very range bound, and you'd be taking a position on the retracement to that 1 hour 50 stops around here. You're executing more or less in the middle of that range, which I'm not usually a huge fan of. However, given the risk to reward and given this solid level, this solid region here, this band that I've mapped from this candle here in the middle across, there's clearly a shift in momentum to the downside. We're also below that 1 hour 50 EMA now, so we can start looking for those shorts into the 4 hour 50 EMA. Now, is this the greatest of breakouts and the greatest of setups? Absolutely not. But when it comes to having such good risk to reward to the 4 hour 50, and also such a high quality daily time frame where it's just stalling out at these highs, I'm okay with being a little bit more aggressive on these lower time frames here, where they're not picture perfect, they're not exactly what I want to see, but they're good enough for me to get in with the expectation that we may come down. So this one's going to be high on watch for this evening going into Asia. I do want to see a nice rejection though from these regions here. If we can get like a nice bearish engulfing or shooting star off of the 1 hour 50 in this region with a nice tight stop, I'm getting in this every day. This is a beautiful position. If we do get that momentum to the downside, which from the higher time frames looks like it is the path of least resistance, and it looks like there is every possibility that this is time to go. This is a beautiful little trend line here too. Just showing it stalling, breakdown, retest, and we get short. So I might even take off that band and just do it like this. So this is what I'm primarily watching for tonight, which we like. So this one is now ready, and we're going to move it to the blue list. Pound CAD. Not ready yet. However, I love the area. This daily double top, nice wave 1, 2, 3. We can take that wave 4 pullback off that daily double top. We like that. Still needs a little bit more confirmation. However, if we can start to just stall around and then break out lower low, take the lower high down to that 4 hour 50, we could have a nice position on our hands at a really nice area of daily resistance. So it's going to be on the primary watch, but it's not ready, so it's red. But and that's the differentiate. The difference between the two is the blue list is ready, the red list is not ready, but it's primary, and they're both in fantastic position. So we like that. Now, Kiwi Swiss. I believe we just went over Kiwi Swiss, so I'm not going to go over this one again. Aussie Swiss is the same story as Kiwi Swiss, where it's just a nice overextended run. We have the shooting star at the highs, and we're just looking for price to come back down into the daily 50 EMA. Now, similar story to Kiwi Swiss, where we didn't actually get that commitment or that breakout on the 1 hour time frame, the break and retest that we're looking for. It just went dead sideways. So to be perfectly honest, I still like the daily time frame, but I'm not a huge fan of this 1 hour anymore. I'll leave it on the secondary because it could potentially shape up, but if it sinks down lower, then it'll be off the books. So now Kiwi CAD. This was another one that I was liking the daily time frame. It was a nice overextended run. You could map some like different areas of resistance wherever you want, but at the end of the day, with the bearish engulfing at the top of this run, we're looking for that retracement back down into support. So that's what looks like is going to be happening. That 4 hour time frame, however, is just dead sideways as well. Markets are just moving sideways at the moment, so it's important not to get caught up and swept up in those sideways ranges. Here again, we got the movement down below the 1 hour 50, but then prices just moved sideways and just not shown any commitment in any direction just yet. So another one that might have been ready, but it just isn't shaping up. I'm going to remove this one from watch as well because it just looks like there's not enough room to that 4 hour 50 in the downside target here to justify keeping it on when it's just become so choppy. Aussie JPY, this is an example of what I was saying where they're stalling just within the range still at those lower high regions, whereas Kiwi JPY is actually at the extremity at the wick highs. This is just halfway there, and it looks like it's just stalling, looking to roll over. Now, I won't say no to it. I'd just be a bit more careful with it. If we do get the breakdown and then look for the retest to take short. But now my problem comes with the distance between the 1 hour and the 4 hour 50 EMA. There's no risk to reward to justify the position. If we break out wave 1, take the wave 2 pullback, then where are we going to run this into? Back to the lows 1-to-1. Yes, they're good, but when the daily time frame, it's not great because it's just in the middle of no man's land. There's a balance to be had between, if you're going to take an aggressive setup, make sure you've got the risk to reward to justify it. Don't be taking an average quality setup when it's just a 1-to-1. I don't see longevity, consistency, or sustainability in that approach personally. Euro Aussie is just messy. It needs more development. It's on the development list. If we do come down to these lows here at 1.61800, I'll be looking for a nice long up into these recent highs here, but at the moment we're just chopping sideways, so there's no setup. I want to see it come down a bit first, and then we can look to take those longs. Euro Kiwi could have been decent, but it just didn't have the legs for it. It didn't have the legs to run. We had the nice push down into support and that weekly 50 EMA with the bullish engulfing and then a little bit of commitment. But then if we look at this 4 hour time frame, we're trading straight up into these lows. Trading straight up into those lows, but also B, on the 1 hour time frame, there just wasn't really a break and retest that we want to see. It just kind of consolidated and chopped and moved up through the 1 hour 50. So there was no trend change. There was no shift in momentum to justify taking an entry. It was just at these recent highs here. So Aussie Kiwi doesn't look like it's going to be shaping up anytime soon. So not Aussie Kiwi, Euro Kiwi, sorry. So we're going to take that one off just because it's not really in the position that I wanted it to be in, and the way that price is moving is just very sideways. CAD JPY, very similar story to Aussie JPY, where it's just in the middle, even more so in the middle than the other one. And now it's just moving sideways on this 4 hour time frame as well. So a little double top here on the 4 hour. Daily time frame is just chopping sideways. There's really no conviction candles, or no candles showing any sign of conviction. You could argue that there's a nice 1 hour break and retest, but again, like, where are you going to take it to? That 4 hour 50 is right at the lows, and you've got no conviction on the daily time frame. So what's happening? We're going to remove this one and demote it because we don't like it anymore. Euro JPY and GBP JPY, same kind of story, except these ones have hit the bodies. Now that's different to if it was just trading within. So this one more so is just, again, still within that wick, and I'd be waiting for the extremity to be taken out. And the same with GBP JPY, we're looking for the extremity to be taken out to then short. I don't want to be caught trading anywhere within this wick. This is just, to me, danger zone and prime time for just chopping around and consolidating. And I don't believe it has the conviction and the path of least resistance that we've taken out the highs of the wick, and we're now coming down to find a more discounted market. At the moment, we're just pulling back, and we're guessing where it's going to turn around. So there's also no intraday breakouts and trend changes at the moment. So no setup yet on any of these, really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of these because they're not looking too good. Watch list. Kiwi Swiss, Aussie Swiss, I don't like them anymore either, so they're going to go. GBP CAD, developing but fantastic. This one is ready, but I just need a C price give me a sign of rejection. Now, I'm going to go and look through each of the FX pairs. I'm going to be a little quiet whilst I build my watch list, so just going to have a brief scan. Not that 4 hour, the daily candle with those 4 candles moving sideways. Again, just shows no conviction and no room to run. Same thing. Yes, we're at the recent lower swing highs, but what is this chop on the 4 hour? And then if we do get the break and retest of the 4 hour, where are you going to go? I could work with this. If we get just a small little retracement down and then take that short, at least now we've got the risk to reward to justify something like that. Just a really short break and retest, and then we got a nice almost 3-1 to those lows. So this is what I'm saying, where the daily time frame is not the greatest. We can justify it. It's decelerating at these recent highs, which is good, and we've got reason to believe price to come back down to the daily 50 EMA. 4 hours just kind of moving around, not doing a whole lot, but there's room to it. There's risk to reward to justify that. There's also a really nice high holding as resistance. If we break and switch that as like a little pivot point, path of least resistance is short. You could argue that you've got your break and retest there, but those are the lows. Yeah, you could argue you've got your break and retest there, but one candle close, spike up, spike up, spike up. That looks like it's just asking for consolidation. Technically there, but Not something I would personally want to trade into here. Yes, Kiwi JPY is looking really good. Euro Aussie if it comes down into that daily support, but it's just quite choppy. I'm going to leave it for now. Euro CAD, very similar story. It's just very choppy and it's not really showing anything of any conviction. You know, you'd be trading straight back down into these lows. If you broke and retest, you know, where's the distance? Where's the space? I'll watch this. I'll watch Euro Swiss. Just simply if we break, retest, room to the 4-hour 50. And that lines up with these recent highs here, so that would be the downside target. Euro GBP, I'm really not a fan of this pair. Probably want to see that taken out down there, so only really looking for further downside. You potentially short, but not really what I'm looking for here. GBP AUD was looking good this morning, but my concern was that it was below this weekly 50 EMA. It was trading straight up into those daily lows. I loved the 4-hour. We had the consolidation, higher high. Do we get the retracement, pullback, and then up into that daily 50? It's just become quite choppy now. On this 1 hour time frame, for example, we went sideways, come down, now I pull back. Like, this is just not the type of retracement that I'm looking for to position myself. GBP CAD I've covered. This is looking good. Just a nice short down into that daily 50. Pound Swiss. This one could be nice as well. We do like that. So pound Swiss needs a little bit more time. However, we can look to take that down into these lows. That would be phenomenal if we do get the breakout to the downside at the top of that higher high. Ooh. This was just one that was on watch this morning, but no position taken. It was just sideways at that pullback, and you were trading straight down into those 4-hour highs. Not something that I would personally put my capital on the line for. Overextension on the Aussie Swiss, but like I was saying earlier, it's just sideways here, and then there'd be no room to run to the 4-hour 50 if it broke and retest to the downside. Okay. That's it. As you can tell, the markets are a little bit slow right now. I don't have a huge watch list. So let's go through and recap and then just order them. So firstly, Kiwi JPY. Lovely daily time frame in the lovely daily area. And we're just looking to see if we can get that nice counter rejections here and then take that short. I do really like that, and I'll be looking for that tonight. GBP USD, highs, deceleration into the highs, 4-hour time frame, room to the 4-hour 50 EMA. Just need to switch, retest as resistance, and come back down. GBP Swiss, higher high extension, looking to take that pullback down into the daily support. We have a huge risk reward to that 4-hour 50, but we just need to, again, wait for that switch. Wait for these lows to be taken out, and this level rejected as resistance, and then we can take that short. I really like this one. Pound CAD, I really like this one as well. Same story. We're at nice daily highs with a little bit of room to run to the downside. We just need to see that switch. Lows be taken, rejected as resistance, and then we look short. And then Euro Swiss. Euro Swiss is the same as Pound Swiss. It's just a nice extension. Not a huge extension, but enough of an extension. 4 hours stalling out. We just need to see that switch, that lower low, lower high, lower low down to the 4-hour 50. Cool. I know this one wasn't as upbeat and energetic as the others have been as of late. It's been a bit of a long day in the office today. However, that in combination with maybe a slower market, there's no reason to not show up and look at the markets, check in, stay up to date, because these setups could be ready within a few hours. Things can change overnight. So checking at the sessions is very important. London, New York, and Asia. This is my Asia check-in, if you will, but I'll be monitoring it throughout the night. Primarily looking for that short on Kiwi JPY. And what I might do is look to start up a Discord and post in the analysis like on images there as well, just as a bit more of an in the moment update here and there. But I'll do that, and I'll put that in the YouTube description and in my channel description as well. However, for now, Kiwi JPY, do we get that nice retest and rejection up here to take that to the 4-hour 50? We shall see on Thursday evening's live stream. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on Thursday.